So every month, our family of radio stations here at Connoisseur Media look across the landscape of regional nonprofit agencies and initiatives, and we pick one to give a little extra radio love to. And since September is Recovery Month, one of the organizations we look toward and are honoring and celebrating this month is the Recovery Network of Programs. Not just because of the incredible work that they do and the important information that you're going to hear today on the program, but it's also their 50th anniversary, providing comprehensive care and expert recovery services to individuals or families who are on their journey to restore hope, health, and healing. Jennifer Kolakowski, their CEO, is with us this morning to help us celebrate them and maybe help you celebrate us a little bit as well, Jennifer. We are so glad to have you, but wish to heck that we could find you guys out of business with no one else left to treat.
Good morning. Yes, John, I agree. Yes, unfortunately, we're busier than we've ever been in our 50-year history.
So as we are moving toward the end of Recovery Month, and really, September marks Recovery Month, but every month is Recovery Month for the hundreds, if not thousands of people whose lives you've touched and saved over the past half century. Let's talk just a little bit more about your organization and the importance of the continuum of services that RNP provides.
Sure. Thank you. So I think, one of the things that does make Recovery Network of Programs so unique, first and foremost, I would say our incredibly dedicated and compassionate staff. But alongside our staff, we have the most comprehensive network of care in Fairfield County. And we really pride ourselves at RNP of having many doors, none of which are the wrong door, that can lead to a life of recovery. And so within our continuum of care, we have 25 distinct programs, largely in Bridgeport, but also in Fairfield County and surrounding towns.
So if folks are listening to this program outside the immediate greater Bridgeport, Fairfield County area, do you have sister programs? In other words, if they called or even showed up on your doorstep that you might refer them to, or is basically your program open to whoever comes to you for help?
Our doors are open to everybody and anybody. We are obviously in some other towns, and then where our services are unique to Bridgeport, we will make sure that individuals are connected to care, to the services that we do have. Otherwise, we're working with other organizations to make sure people receive the treatment they need.
And that partnership is so important. I mean, these days, and especially during and post, the onset of COVID-19, I think so many nonprofits that have survived and sustained have done so with this collegial camaraderie and partnership, with the realization that no other nonprofit is their competition, but virtually any nonprofit that shares a philosophy like RNP's is actually a partner.
Absolutely. And again, we take great pride at RNP that we do. In 50 years, we've developed very strong, professional, collaborative relationships with so many different organizations and hospitals, federally qualified health centers, universities. We always are looking how to strengthen the services we provide to the individuals and families we serve by collaborating and connecting with other providers and other entities.
And part of that collaboration now with the ongoing continuing education and the expansion of knowledge base amongst law enforcement agencies and those in them who are dealing with such a greater proportional number of individuals who may be touched by substance abuse and or like a coexisting mental health condition. Your innovative collaboration with law enforcement is something we really want to spend a couple minutes talking about.
Great. Thank you. Yes. So RNP was the first in the state of Connecticut to truly, fully integrate clinical social workers into a police department. And we did that with the city of Stamford and the Stamford Police Department, who have been absolutely fantastic to work with. The program has grown. We've been in operation for a little over a year, and we started with one clinical social worker and have just added a second social worker, and we'll be adding a third within this next year. But the program itself is absolutely remarkable. And in our first year of operation and collaborating with Stamford, we've served over 800 unique individuals in providing interventions and connections to care. And that's a help and a relief to the Stamford Police Department as well as the communities. And then we are able to connect them to the services that they need. Interesting.
I was going to say that's a really critical point, because the burden of just answering to, responding to, and being able to effectively address calls involving individuals that are touched by some sort of substance abuse or addiction are astronomical.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we found in Stamford, in that in this partnership, we're able to provide many of the, obviously the social services and the connections to care. So the police can do what they need to do and keep, public safety as their priority. It's been an incredible partnership. And we're actually now going to be working with the city of Norwalk and the Norwalk Police Department to essentially replicate this program, because it's been so impactful within the Stamford community.
Fantastic. Folks, if you want to learn more about this organization, either because you need their support or because the work they're doing touches you and you'd like to support them in some way, you can go to recovery-programs.org. We're going to give their CEO, Jennifer Kolakowski, a break at this point and visit with Daniel Levesque, who is their Director of Recovery Services. But Jennifer, thanks for kicking things off and helping us wrap up September Recovery Month here in Connecticut and across the nation. We appreciate you and the great work that you folks are doing. And congratulations on your 50 years, your half century of providing this unparalleled service and these partnerships here in Fairfield County and beyond. So we have Daniel Levesque on the line now, who is the Directory of Recovery Services for RNP. And Danielle, first, congratulations not only on the 50th anniversary of the program and in the work that you're doing, but also, when you talk about getting your hands dirty, it's not just about the recovery work you do. You actually started a memorial garden to celebrate Overdose Awareness Day and to usher in September, which is Recovery Month.
Correct. Yes. We actually unveiled it to the public this past Overdose Awareness Day a few weeks ago. And it's just a really beautiful place to honor the memory of clients that we have lost. Although we work so hard to help people get into treatment, we know how powerful, especially these new synthetic opioids are that have hit the streets. So sometimes we do lose clients, and we really wanted to provide a peaceful place for our staff and the community to really find closure and to honor just the memory of these people who unfortunately, just could not beat this disease.
Yeah. And it's becoming harder and harder with the insidious invasion of fentanyl into the opioid network of illegal drugs that folks are either consciously or unknowingly being exposed to. And as I was mentioning to Jennifer before we turned on the mic, this latest scourge of this rainbow fentanyl that's geared toward children and young people, just when you think it can't get any worse, it just keeps getting worse. And you guys have been so successful across your range of programs in responding to the challenge of fentanyl. Let's talk a little bit about MATS and your work at harm reduction.
Right. Yeah. So, and the scary thing too is that there are even stronger synthetic opioids hitting the streets every day. So our medication-assisted treatment really is more crucial now than ever. So we have 2 clinics. We have one in Bridgeport and one in Stratford. And we utilize, 3 different kinds of medications based on, the need of the client to really combat their opioid use disorder. And we use that medication in combination with our counseling and behavioral therapies, which really has proven to be very effective and help people sustain long-term recovery. And as you had mentioned before, we are also now implementing harm reduction services. And for those who aren't familiar with harm reduction, it's a proactive approach to reduce the damage that's done by drug use and high-risk behaviors, and really address, these broader public health issues like HIV transmission and hepatitis and STD. So ultimately, why we wanted to implement harm reduction is because we feel it's a step in a positive direction, right? We understand that change is not easy. And really what it does is it fosters trust. So that person already knows, hey, you're not judging me and there's no stigma here. And it allows us to get comfortable with that person so that when they are finally ready for treatment, they know that they found a safe place with people who really do care about their well-being.
Well, that's fantastic. On a similar subject, which is always about getting people to their goal of recovery, we've talked a couple of times recently, including as recently as a week ago with another recovery program, of the importance of family and peer support. The individual can work with the most incredible network of professionals on the treatment end, but it's the peers and the family who really kind of make up the team. They're not on the bench. They're actually the kind of the defensive line to the quarterbacks and running backs that your team provides, right?
Right. And, we know that recovery in itself is about connection, right? So when we support and we truly listen to each other, that's really when solutions and goals are created. And we have seen, the success rate of people who do have family interaction and understanding of their disease. So we always encourage family to be involved in that person's treatment if it's possible. And to your other point, yes, we also employ what we call recovery coaches or recovery support specialists, which I actually am myself. Mm-hmm. And these are people who, have this lived experience with substance abuse and mental health. And really the goal is to help our clients achieve the sobriety, the stability, the health, and the happiness that we've been able to accomplish in our own recovery. And we're ultimately their cheerleaders, and we're there to be there in any capacity that they need, to connect them to resources or to really just sit, right, and have an honest conversation and to find out what their needs are and then help guide them through the entire process of recovery. So we've had a lot of success with implementing peer support because it really does make a difference when you're talking to someone who on some level understands exactly what you have gone through and are going through.
So in the last minute or so that we have with you, Jennifer, just let people know what they could expect if they are helping a loved one or they themselves have decided they're going to put a stick in the ground and they're going to address and tackle their addiction issues. What do they expect when they come to the Recovery Network of programs?
So when someone finally, has had enough, right? They put their hands up and they say, I can't do this anymore. The first thing to realize is that it's not going to be easy. It's going to take effort. It's going to take work. But that is why we have implemented a very large continuum of care with all levels of treatment so that we can meet you exactly where you're at, right? We like to say that there's no wrong door. So you can call one of our programs, and if that's not the place you need to be right now, we would refer you to a different program of ours so that we can meet your needs, because that's ultimately what it's about. We want to empower people in their recovery and allow them choices and options, and staff who care and who are willing to, do the research and really just help people in any way that we can to get their foot in the door. Because once we can get them into one of our programs, that's when they'll be able to really see that the change is worth it, right? That their lives are worth it, and that we are here to help them every step of the way. And some, it takes longer than others, but that's why we're here and we have such a large continuum of care.
Well, they wouldn't have been going for 50 years and so much stronger and harder here in 2022 if they weren't successful. We invite anyone to reach the Recovery Network of programs because they're committed to empowering folks in need to get the compassionate, personalized support they deserve to help improve their lives while creating important change throughout our community. Our guests this morning here celebrating the 50th anniversary of Recovery Network of Programs were CEO Jennifer Kolakowski and my guest now, Danielle Levick, our NP's Director of Recovery Services, here as we wrap up Recovery Month here in Connecticut and across the country. Danielle and Jennifer, thank you both so much.